Sometimes we see only what we think we will see or what we are able to see. Today we encounter moments of blindness and sight, light and darkness, and lots of confusion. It begins when Jesus sees a man blind from birth. He sees this person, one who is often overlooked, disregarded, and dismissed. But Jesus sees him. As the disciples asked, "Who sinned, this man or his parents?" they make the assumption it is a simple answer. We know in ancient days, when a child was born with an imperfection, it was considered a punishment for some sin. Jesus' response is, "No one sinned." There is a greater purpose to this man's blindness, that God's works be revealed. Jesus makes mud from earth and spit and spreads it on the man's eyes. And you remember that's how God made man. Then tells him to go and wash in the pool of Siloam. The blind man hears Jesus, is obedient, and follows Jesus' word. And he can see. Such a profound, pivotal moment for this man. He sees light where his world had been shrouded in darkness. His orientation and comprehension of the world and life are opened up to begin to reveal a new understanding. And one would think that his life just changed for the better. Yet he encounters doubt, disbelief, and rejection from his neighbors, the religious authorities, and even his parents. Over and over, he tells his story, and they are not able to grasp what has happened. That he is the blind man who used to beg. He even says over and over, "I am the man." They take him to the Pharisees and he explains it once again, and they don't get it. And his parents are questioned. And they say that, yes, he's their son, but they don't know what's going on. Just ask him. And when pressed to give God the glory by the religious authorities, the man responds, "Here's an astonishing thing. You do not know where he comes from, and yet he opened my eyes. Never since the world began has it been heard that anyone opened the eyes of a person born blind. If this man were not from God, he could do nothing." It's funny, interesting, that the one who was once blind is now the only one who can see properly. Faced with a new reality, the people are unable to comprehend. Their assumptions inhibit their ability to see, just as the disciples' assumption that someone must be at fault because the blindness was understood to be a punishment. What might be assumptions we have that get in our way? What assumptions about another cloud our ability to see them as the gift they were created to be or the potential they have? In our first reading, when Samuel is sent to Jesse in Bethlehem to seek a new king, everyone assumes one of the 7 elder sons would be the choice. Yet they are all rejected by God. It is the least likely, the youngest son, David, who is tending the sheep. He is the one to be anointed king. Even in this story, it says God looked on the heart, not on the outward appearance. And David is a most unexpected choice. The youngest child of the smallest clan, of the smallest tribe of Israel, who was left to tend the sheep, becomes the divinely chosen king of Israel. In these stories, where people see a blind man and a young boy, God sees a king and a devoted follower. Assumptions get in the way all the time, don't they? We see them all around us. How many times do we make the assumption that someone is less than because they are homeless, or they have a speech impediment, or they're blind or differently abled? Perhaps the hope we are able to embrace today is that despite all our assumptions, limited understandings, and blindness, God is working miracles. Even though we may get caught up in confusion, God is at work bringing healing to those who are ready, bringing healing, bringing light, and lifting them up. Thank goodness our confusion does not hinder God's work. Our questions don't stop Jesus from doing good work, doing good in the world, and our assumptions can't get in the way of God's choices. So maybe, perhaps, we should always be seeking to recognize our assumptions, misperceptions, or even asking if we are perceiving rightly. Because God is always breaking through, making a way in the midst of our confusion, our assumptions, and our questions.